Hi, I'm Ashley Adamson, and it's so hot that I ain't wearing much except my underwear. I just woke up from a nap, and I had this kind of sense of what am I doing with my life? What's going to matter? And what's going to matter is how much I've put something out there to help others. So I'm making another video, and this one is about being single. If you like trans topics, growth, personal mindset, kind of like growing stuff, this is your channel. This is for you. We talk about doing deep work. There's not a lot of superficial stuff, and we talk about spiritual aspects too of being trans, which apparently there's not a lot of people talking about that. So if that's something that you like, we're going to talk about all of these things and more. Let's talk about being single as being trans, because that's the topic that I've been thinking about as I'm kind of struggling with my own experience sometimes, and sometimes thriving in my own experience of being single. So, being single as a man, when I identified as one, was much easier in a lot of ways because I didn't feel like I needed any kind of validity in being single. I could just be single. I also didn't feel like I had this kind of like time limit for how long I could be single, like that I would be in my prime. This concept of being in your prime and not being in your prime didn't exist to me. I was like, I'm just single and everything's good. And maybe that's just because I'm also younger then, but like just never thinking about these things. And I call them out because I definitely think about them now as a woman. Do you think about these kinds of things? So there's kind of like not feeling like I needed to not be single, not feeling like I had limited time to be single and attractive, and also like I think generally being okay with knowing that the right person would come when they would. And yeah, my dating life was a lot slower because I wouldn't have many dates. I would have maybe a few in a year, but every time I would meet a person that we clicked, it would be like a relationship for at least a year or more. And so very few dates, but a lot of relationships and a lot of love. Now that I'm a woman, I experienced a couple things being single. The first one is my attractiveness feels like it's a commodity that's only going to exist for a certain amount of time until I get old and I'm no longer attractive. And I hear this all the time about when women become 40, they become invisible, which is just like such a messed up idea to make someone feel like they can only be attractive within a certain timeline. It's no wonder some girls are just trying to like lock down a man and get married and kind of like get into something there. And for me, I do feel that pressure because I'm not like as young as I used to be. I don't know if I look this way, but I'm 35. And being 35 is right around the time when my parents got married. And I'm not married. I'm not even on a pathway to getting married. I'm single. I live in a new country. I have dates that are first dates because I don't really have much except, my friend with benefits who I love. But we've already discussed that it's not going to work out. So here I am now as a woman feeling like I have limited time. I feel like I need to not be single because being a single woman is not, you're not a valid woman. And I say that with a little bit of jest, but also kind of like this is an ingrained like society thing that I have experienced. And I don't think I acquired that when I suddenly transitioned into a woman. I think that's something that was ingrained within my psyche at some point as a man, maybe. I don't know. But as soon as I became a woman, I started to feel the need to have a partner, the need to have a partner to feel valid, the insecurity in not having a partner and not feeling valid. Do you ever get that? Do you ever get feelings of because you're single, you feel less valid, or you feel like if only you had a partner, things would be more complete in your life. We all know that that's not true, though. We all know that on paper, if you have a relationship, that doesn't make your life complete. There are many more things, and there's way more complexity in having a relationship, and also a loss of certain opportunities in having a relationship that you sign up for. But, it looks all peachy clean on the other side when you're single. I have seen some of the cracks, though, of the benefits of being single. Like, I have a friend, one of my best friends, she's in a relationship for 2 years, and they don't do much. It's kind of boring. She even says that. And there's less excitement. There's not a lot of surprise and not a lot of exploration. And maybe that's also due to the personalities involved, but I think this is actually kind of like a typical thing with relationships that have progressed. If there's not a proactive element of continuing to evolve and grow together, things can kind of stagnate. And I don't want that. Do you want that? The beautiful thing of being single is that life is kind of like fresh and new, and you can try so many things, and you can spend more time doing things that you care about. You have flexibility in doing more things. Like, I moved to Berlin last year, and then before that I moved to Portland the year before, and before that I was in San Francisco, and I had that flexibility because I was single. I didn't have to make decisions based on what other people in my life that were like my partner wanted to do. Like, oh, I want to stay working here, or I need to do this. So there are some benefits, right? You get flexibility. But it's still hard. It's still a grind. I had a date yesterday, and it was a first date. The guy's attractive. He speaks English great, and he seems to be pretty confident. And I like that. Confidence is attractive, right? Like, who doesn't say confidence is attractive? And we met up, and we didn't really talk about anything. In fact, if anything, we just talked about what I was looking for, which is what I said in my profile. I'm looking for a connection. And he wanted to dig into, like, what is looking for a connection? What do you mean by that? And it seemed like he was kind of intimidated by the idea that I was looking for a connection. When I say that, what does it mean to you? I didn't really know. Like, I have a feeling of what a connection is, what I want, but I don't know how to express that to someone else. I just know I'm not looking for a hookup. And no, I'm not looking for a relationship, because if I say I'm looking for a relationship and I state that in my head, then I'm going to continuously feel invalidated by the fact that I'm not in one, and going to be biasing my perception that is going to help get me into a relationship with someone that I potentially should not be in a relationship with. Have you ever been there? Have you ever, like, put on your love glasses and gotten into a relationship that was not healthy for you just because you wanted one? Just because you didn't want to be lonely? The thought of being lonely was more frightening than being single? And then how'd that turn out? What did you learn from that? And how are you approaching being single again if you're watching this now? So, yeah, at the end of the day, I was actually really disappointed, and because he then had a phone call he had to deal with, and we literally just didn't get to know each other. And on the walk back, he walked me back to the train stop, and we didn't talk for like several minutes walking, and I was just like really disappointed, and I felt this story playing of being trans, which maybe you've heard this story in your own head, whether in words or in feelings, but it sounds like this. But I'm going to verbalize it, so just kind of like bear with me here, but it sounds like, I'm never valid, people don't really see me for who I am, and I am trans, and woe is me, being trans is really hard. The world is so hard on me because I'm trans. That's my kind of, yeah, that was my improv song for you in this negative self-talk, right? And that's the feeling. It's like casting a spell of just feeling like every single time I am fetishized, I am objectified, I am treated less than human, and I'm never seen as a valid partner or person that can be valid. Do you ever get that feeling? That's kind of what my feeling is. So I cried and I said to him, I don't know if we should talk, or he said, send me like something. I was like, I don't know if I should send you this text afterwards about this list or whatever, because I don't feel like I know you. I feel like you seem smart, you seem confident, you seem like you know yourself, you are attractive, but we spent the entire time talking about expectations, and I never at once got to know you, and I'm so disappointed by that. And I started to cry, and he stopped, and he looked at me and said, I'm sorry. And he reached out and he gave me a hug. And I wasn't sure how willing I was going to be in sharing my emotions, but eventually as he held me there, I felt safe enough to cry into his shoulder. And so I did. I cried into his shoulder, and I cried into his shoulder about the feeling of never feeling valid, the feeling of feeling like I'm always going to be objectified, the feeling that I'm never going to find the right one for me, and that all of these kind of victim mentality stories, just kind of like crying that into his shoulder. And then I saw the real person that he was, which is that he's willing to accept responsibility, he's willing to be honest, and he's capable of holding me when I'm sad. And I thought that was great. That was a great way to end a terrible first date. And it just got me thinking about, you, and like, what's your experience like being single? And it's really hard being trans, right? Like, you're a niche within a niche within a niche. A lot of people are not going to like you. A lot of people are not going to accept you. You have this kind of thing of being trans. And I think the thing of being trans, the burden, shall we say, can also intimidate people, even if they are accepting of you being trans. They're like, well, I don't want your baggage of being trans. But I mean, please, we all have baggage. I'm sure you have baggage too. And I'm working through mine. I'm being willing to be vulnerable and express that with you and with whoever I'm with. So can we like move past the fact that I'm trans and just get on to knowing each other? Where are you in your singlehood? Like, how have you found a process for you? Like, what's the best practice to keep you emotionally balanced? Whenever I get on a dating app, I always feel like suddenly being single is a bad thing, because there's all of these available options and none of them seem to be available to me. Do you ever get that feeling? Like, have you used a dating app where you feel that? Like, you go, oh, wow, like, they're attractive, but none of them are matching with me. I feel terrible. Or even worse, you match with them and then they go, oh, you're trans. Sorry, bye. That's the worst, because then you really get to underline how valid and simultaneously invalid you are. You're valid in terms of them being attracted to you. You're invalid in terms of the fact that just because there's like this one line item that you're trans, you're no longer valid. And somehow you, as a person, your personality has just been completely ignored. I grapple with this all the time. I consider myself to be a pretty interesting person. I consider myself to bring a lot of value to conversation as well as connection with someone. I don't think that I'm like, I think that I'm pretty good looking. I wouldn't say that I'm a 10. I wish I was a 10. I really do. But I'm not going to pursue that. I'm not going to pursue endless surgery to try and get there. I'm good enough. And I want to live my life and I want to do other things. Where was I going with that? I want to be attractive. Oh, like I feel like I have enough to offer. Don't you feel like that? Don't you feel like you're enough? Don't you feel like you have something within you that's a gift? And that if other people could just see that, they could see what you could give them. I feel like I have so many gifts to give, and I was going to say no one to give it to, but wait, no, I'm giving you this gift. And that's why I just started making this video and why I started even doing the cities, because I feel like I have a gift and I need to get that out into the world. I just do. What are your gifts? What are those things? Maybe we should just focus on our gifts. Maybe we should just focus on being more of who we are as an amazing and beautiful and special person, and hope that the more that we amplify and embody and encourage to manifest that in ourselves and in our experience around us, maybe, just maybe, there will be someone that will see our gift more clearly and will want to resonate with that to show up in our life. And I've had this dream, this vision of this future where I'm in a hot tub, and I got in the hot tub and I'm on a retreat. I'm giving some kind of spiritual retreat, and a guy steps into the hot tub, and I look at him and I go, oh, you're a lot younger than I thought. And I see him seeing me, and I also see what he's thinking, which he's like, oh, I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna go for this. And I think that's the guy that I'm waiting for. And he's attractive and stuff, but he's a little younger than I was expecting. I like older guys, but I guess he's gonna be a little younger than me. But I also, the way that he sees me and the way that he saw me was different than how I saw myself, which is interesting. And I think this was an experience that I had pre-FFS, and I wonder if now things are different or if I'm going to have more changes. I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I guess what I'm saying is perhaps there's destiny. Perhaps that there is this moment where you do have a connection with a soulmate, with someone that is out there for you. But they cannot arrive until we're ready. And the only time when you're ready is when you're finally like over the search, when you're finally like not looking, when you're finally focused on you and you found that gift within you and the things that you care about and need to do. You're doing them. So when they come into your life, they're no longer a distraction to the thing that is super important, which is you. What do you think about that? If you are partnered, what's your experience been with finding your partner? And how does that resonate with you? I know, like, you probably heard it, like, the right one will come, it'll be the right time. But what the hell do we do until then? Keep dating? I mean, I am. Focusing on your gift? I think I'm going to focus on that more. Thank you for joining me today. And if you want to support me, you can support me on my Patreon, or like and share this with other people. Just get the message out there. Help me build a following. Help me build my message out there, or help me support me in doing this. I give a monthly Q&A and also a monthly meditation workshop. And yeah, I'd love to see you again. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Ashley Adamson. Bye.